Hello, I'm Sandi Mielitz, and I'm the Rector's Warden at All Saints. Many of you have participated in or watched skits that we've had during services over the years. They're a different way of getting the message across. Well, today with this video, it's a bit of a secular skit. We're going to have Bishop Don acting as the parishioner who has questions about how the new COVID services will work. And Jocelyn, Bartel, People's Warden, and myself are the wise wardens who have all the answers. The reality of it, of course, is pretty much the reverse between the wise wardens and Don. However, for now, that's our pretend. Bishop Don, could I ask you to ask the first question that you might have?
Well, sure, Sandi. Like a lot of folks, I'm sure, I'm kind of eager to get back into this building. It's been a long time, and I hear that we're going to be limited in numbers, so I'm a little bit worried. Like, do I kind of have to call up and reserve a place? How will I know that there'll be room for me?
Can I answer that one?
Sure.
We have decided that in order to make it easier for everybody, we will ask all people planning to attend to call the office or email the office to say that they wish to participate in a certain service. That way we can make a list of who's going to be there so that we know that you're coming. We will not turn anybody away. We have good capacity in this place. And especially we hope that we'll have visitors as well.
Well, now, the other thing I've heard is that people are going to have to sit in particular places. And, that kind of reminded me of the last subscription I had for a concert at the concert hall, where you could kind of go online ahead of time and sort of choose your seating. And so I thought, like, maybe they have something set up like that. Can we do that in advance?
The seating will not be quite that sophisticated.
Oh.
It will be more of a first come, first serve. We would have to set up a very complicated online seating system. And for the number of people that we're hoping to see every Sunday, I think that's maybe too much fuss. What we will do is assign people into groups, and there will be numbering on the seats. You will be taken to a seat, you and whoever might be with you, and we will call that a pod.
Oh.
And there will be distancing places to stand and wait at the back. We'll have some signs that say, please wait here until a greeter or sides person can take you to where you will be sitting.
Okay. Well, speaking of then getting in the building, I mean, gosh, there's been construction going on here for a couple of years. And before that started, I always came into church through the hall doors, but it's been a while since they've been there. Are there special doors that I'm supposed to come in?
Yeah, this is my turn to talk. You're absolutely right. We've got the construction next door, but regulations for COVID require that we have one entrance for everybody and a separate exit for everybody. So after talking about it, we have decided that the easiest and best way would be for people to come in through the doors on Broadway that are the closest to the new housing project. So those are the doors on the west side of the Broadway wall of the church. And at the same time, you'll get to enjoy the brand new restored doors, which really look terrific. When you're exiting, we will exit through, again, going back out onto Broadway, but out through the door that is closest to the bus stop. So it's just up by the altar area, and if you were facing the altar, it's to the right. But people don't need to worry about that because there will be ushers to show them exactly where to go, and there shouldn't be any confusion. For people who are disabled, we thought it might be far easier for them to exit and enter both through the doors that are in the parking lot right by the sacristy, and that's where for the last year and a half or so everybody has been entering and exiting.
Oh, that sounds good. That makes sense. I wondered, I had to go to the dentist this last week for a checkup, and I had to read through a whole bunch of questions on a page when I went into the office, even before they'd let me in. What's going to happen to me at church when I come in these doors?
Those very same questions that you're seeing on every store, at the dentist, any other public place, these questions that are posted right here. You will be asked if you can comply with all of those. You won't be asked about each individual question, but you will be asked to read that and can you comply? Because those are the COVID-19 regulations that the province of Manitoba has put into place.
Well, that doesn't look too bad. I know some of the lists I've seen, you know, it almost seems like they want to know what you had for breakfast that morning. So it's not going to be quite that detailed, I gather.
No. And just to go back to Sandy's point about entries and exits, they will be marked. That will be marked as the entry. We'll put a sign outside so people know where to go. There will be an exit sign at the back door, and the same with the sacristy doors. So I'm trying to make it as clear as possible for everybody so they know where the traffic flow goes.
You know, what about, I've heard that you're going to need our contact information. That sounds kind of time consuming. Do we have to write all that out each time? Or?
No, that's another reason for registering ahead of time, because for all of our current parishioners, we have your phone number, your address on file, and so when we make up a schedule of who is going to be here, we just have to put a tick mark beside your name. Mm-hmm. Now, visitors, that would be lovely, or somebody who's forgotten the phone, we will say, could you please give us your phone number and address? So it will be for only very few people. Yeah, and that is for tracing and contact information, also a requirement.
Well, that makes sense. You know, I noticed I do a lot of the grocery shopping in our family right now, and the last time I went to Superstore, they were requiring everyone now to wear a mask. So will we have to wear a mask for spiritual shopping at All Saints?
You know, everybody will be asked to wear a mask. I think that's the way of life we've got right now, and we've got an older congregation, we've got to stay safe. So I think it's an important thing to do. If you forget your mask, don't worry about it. We're going to have extras on hand. And we also have procedures we'll talk about dealing with a mask and communion. So we've tried to think ahead as to how this would work. I'd like to, while I think of it, just go back to another point, which is, we talked about the doors coming in, and Jocelyn talked about there'll be a sign showing the entrance. You know, you may find it, if you're coming in a car, you may find it easiest to park at Great West Life. Mm-hmm. We're allowed to do that on Sundays. And then you can go down to the traffic light. It's perfectly safe to cross Broadway, and that might be an easier way rather than our traditional parking on Colony and then having to go around the construction.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that makes good sense. A little bit more about the seating. You were talking about groups. I think you called them pods. I kind of have a favorite pew here at All Saints. Is there some way I can sort of bribe somebody to let me sit there, or how will that happen?
That is a very good question, and it's extremely awkward because I know there are lots of people who say, I've always sat 2 pews behind the warden's staff. Well, I'm afraid at this point it's going to be first come, first serve. A pod could be 3 or 4 people if you're coming with your family or people that you live with, that you're in the same bubble. It doesn't necessarily mean just one person, but I'm afraid that the favorite pews may have to wait for a little while. So I hope you like the seat that you're given.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, we'll try to be gracious about that. I've been watching the YouTube worship services each Sunday, and I get an idea of what they're like, but we really only see, you know, the presider up front, a few choir members, and so on. What will this in-person church service be like?
I think, you know, all of us are going to have to be prepared for a somewhat different experience. There will be music with the organ, and there'll be music with maybe 3 or 4 singers at the front in parts of the service. But unfortunately at this time, congregational singing is not allowed. So we simply have to adapt to that and find the best routes around it. For the offertory, what we will do, passing the plate, again, is an awkward and difficult thing to do. So there'll be a table at the back, and as you enter, there'll be a tray on the table, and we'd invite you to put your offerings there, and please, if you could, put them in an envelope.
Okay.
Just one comment on that. We do have the little envelopes that are normally in the pews, and we'll have a stack of them there available for people to use.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Sounds helpful.
Yeah.
other thing we should talk a little bit about is the sharing of the peace, which is normally a fairly welcoming, boisterous part of our service, creating community. We're going to have to be more contained now. Unfortunately, we can't all get out in the aisle and be close to one another. So we are encouraging people to simply stand, look at their neighbors, give a smile, give a wave, do the best you can to communicate with your eyes and maybe your hands, but standing where your pew is.
And I also wondered too about taking communion. I'm really looking forward to getting back and being able to take communion, but I imagine there's probably special procedures around that as well?
There are, and we have thought long and hard about this, and at this point, at this juncture, the directions that we have from Bishop Jeff are that we can take the host, which will be blessed, thank you, will be blessed during the communion part, and that will be served in a small little paper cup, sometimes known as a pill cup, a souffle cup, or whatever, so that there's nobody touching that. So you will receive the host that has been blessed, and we will not be, at this point, able to enjoy the wine as well. So, and there will be sanitizing stations before and after, so that it will be all very controlled.
Sounds good. Yeah. The other thing I'm really looking forward to is getting to see some of the parishioners that I, really enjoyed talking to after church and so on. And I know that in the last while we used to kind of gather here at the back, but I got a hunch that's probably not on. Is there some way that I can visit with some people after the service?
Yeah, that is, you guessed correctly. It's not on for us to mill around in the back like we have and taking coffee. In fact, people will really be expected to just leave in an orderly fashion with help from the ushers. But you can still visit out on the parking lot or on the lawn, on Broadway. We absolutely invite people to stay and talk. And as long as they can stay the 2 meters, the 6 feet apart, or wearing their mask, we hope there is some of that, because I think we're all missing one another.
Yeah, for sure. We've been making these plans, or I've been hearing about them now for several weeks, and while it's got a little better in the last week, the number of cases of COVID-19 have increased a lot in Manitoba. And I see when I go into stores and restaurants and so on, people constantly cleaning surfaces and making sure that everything's disinfected and so on. What are our plans to do that with our church inside here?
We have good plans, and I'll just have to apologize before. It was consecrated was the word I was looking for. Anyway, I found the word, consecrated host. But talking about the sanitizing, yes, we have put extra cleaning protocols in place. We have standing sanitizers, standing no-touch sanitizers that will be placed at the entrances, before the communion table, at the sides when you leave. There's small pump sanitizers. The bathrooms have protocols all posted in them, and there will be there'll be cleaning after each service, and then there will be professional deep cleaning every week, so that we're trying to make as good a situation for everybody and make sure that our people are safe.
Good. Well, this really does sound impressive, and I know that we're going to get some written communication and we'll be able to watch this video, but it's still a lot to take in. So what if I can't remember all these points?
We will be very surprised if you do remember it all, because it is complex and it's taken us time to sort it out. You will get written information. It also will all be on the website. But most importantly, when you arrive, there will be sides people who are trained, who know what should be happening, who can help you every step of the way. So people should just relax. We just are waiting with bated breath to see people again after so long being away from one another.
Well, thank you both. This has been great to learn about it. It's going to be a different experience, but I'm looking forward to coming back on that first Sunday in September 27th. So we will see you then.
Thank you. And thank you for all the good questions.